Have you dreamed about opening a boutique since childhood? Maybe you have a store, but now you're ready to expand. Well, guess what? You're in exactly the place where you're meant to be. Welcome to the Boost Your Boutique podcast, hosted by Emily Benson, retail boutique consultant, best-selling author, and a motivational speaker. In this podcast, you'll learn how to manage your boutique better, have balance in your life, and learn from experts who care. So whether you've been in the business for decades or you're just getting started, it's important to get help from someone who's been there and someone who's going to coach you along the way. So head over to boostyourboutique.com to learn more today. And now, here's Emily.
Hi guys, it's Emily, and welcome back to another edition of the Boost Your Boutique podcast. I am so excited this week to bring you an interview. So much of what I do is teach and teach and teach, but I don't know everything. And so I plan on, as I grow this podcast, bringing on some of my favorite experts in areas from mindset to PR, all over the map, really to help you see other sides of your business that you might be missing. And this week, this one's really special to me. This woman is someone who has been in my life for a few years now. We started out, I actually interviewed her for some market research I was doing, and we found out we have the same birthday. We found out that we have a lot of the same interests. We traveled to France together. She is incredible, and I think you're absolutely going to love this interview. Her name is McAlister. She is a freedom strategist and expert on turning tragedies into triumph. Her company is called Life with Passion, and in that company, she helps high-achieving, motivated entrepreneurs use their unique gifts and their challenges to quit and stay out of their 9-to-5 jobs. How does she do this? Well, she helps them by creating and growing online businesses out of their passions. What a great name, right? Life with Passion. So in this interview, we talk a lot about how she was able to start a business on the side of her 9-to-5, a creative business. In the first month, she was able to replace her 9-to-5 salary. This is awesome, right? You're going to love this. So in our interview, I press her on how she did this, what were the big steps that she took, and how can she teach you guys how to do this, right? What do you all need to be doing to replicate the success she had? Because in my world and the way I teach, nothing is new. We learn from each other, we learn from others who've done it before us, and so I've been hearing from so many of you that you want to leave your 9-to-5 to start your boutique, to start your mobile business, and you're just feeling torn, you're feeling overwhelmed. So I'm excited for you to really dive into this interview and hear what Christine has to give you. And, I think it's really going to be a game changer for you. So let's dive right into the interview. I think you're going to love it. Christine, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited you're my first guest on my podcast. And so welcome.
Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here, Emily.
We've known each other for a while, and one of the biggest reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast first, honestly, was because I admire your story of being able to run two businesses at once. So you were in your 9-to-5, you started a creative business on the side because you knew that was your passion, and you were able to leave so quickly. So that just blows my mind, because I hear so many boutique owners say that they're in this spot, whether they're running an online business, whether they are in a brick and mortar doing shows or have a truck. I really would love for you to start just by telling us how did you do this? What's the secret? Is there a secret? Tell us, please.
Oh, that's such a great question. Yeah, so I was in a 9-to-5 and just really, really focused on getting out of it. I knew, probably like a lot of your listeners, that the thing that I had started on the side was my true passion. And also, I was really passionate about getting out of the job. So, what I did was I did build my business on the side in such a way that when I finally did quit my 9 to 5, I replaced my income right away in the first month. And so I am a big believer in like doing this as simply as possible. So I really set my sights on what I knew when it came to that side business. I did not seek to work with like a ton of people and do all the things and, be everywhere for everyone. Like I kept it really, really straightforward, and I basically repeated the same tasks each day. And I got really, really consistent, stayed consistent. And that is what led to me being able to quit and replace my income right away.
I love that. I feel like so many women think that they have to do all the things, and by doing all the things that might get them ahead. But it seems like you clearly didn't, that didn't work for you. So, I mean, tell us a little bit more about like actual things that you did. So what was on that like daily to-do list for you?
Yeah. So for me, I would say the first thing that I did, honestly, was that I was really consistent about communicating with my people. And in my case, that meant via email, right? That's how I connected with my customers and my clients, was via email. And so, I had my work emails at my 9 to 5, and those weren't as important to me as those emails that were coming into the business inbox. I made sure every day I was in that inbox and I was responding to people and sending people emails, right? Like reaching out to them and being really, really consistent. So that was the first thing that I did. And that's not sexy, right? And it might sound kind of boring, but it's true. It's how I did it. The second thing that I did was I focused on 1 to 2 projects at a time, using 1 to 2 key skills at a time.
Okay.
And that was it.
Okay. So like in terms of like key skills, like how do you think that would transfer over to a boutique owner? So a lot of boutique owners are, they're, like you said, they're trying to reach out to customers. So I love the tip about the email list. I'm constantly saying like, how are you building your email list? How are you communicating with your people? So that's super helpful. And then like in terms of, I guess, structures and kind of, like, how did you fit that in your day? I guess like for boutique owners, I think they're doing a lot of this stuff at night. Maybe they're like sneaking in their lunch hours. Like what did you do for systems and structures that made it possible that you didn't like die? Like I can just imagine working so hard all day at your job and then coming home. What did you do?
Yeah, I did use breaks and lunch breaks.
Okay.
I was really excited about what I was doing and building this. And so I would give myself permission to work on my stuff over lunch, right? And give myself permission to take 15 minutes here and there. And then, of course, evenings and weekends as well. When you're running a boutique business, I think there's a lot of, there is a potential for you to get more like diluted maybe in your message, or like who your ideal client or customer is and those types of things. Or like maybe you're going to run this promotion, maybe you're going to run that promotion, or maybe you're going to work with this vendor or that vendor. And like, I would say it's much better off, much more likely to set you up for success if you're get super clear and super, super focused. Like I have horses, so I say it's like putting blinders on a horse, right? So that you can't see what's to the side of you. You can't see what everybody else is doing, right? There's no like, you rule out the room for FOMO, and you focus ahead on like, maybe you just work with one vendor or 2 vendors. Maybe you're just working with one type of person, and that's all you care about right now.
I love that. I love that. And I think that can even transfer over into, if you want to start a website, you just start the website, and you focus on driving traffic to that website. You're constantly posting on Facebook to drive traffic to that website, and that's it. There isn't the truck, the website, the store, the event shows. I think that's a really great analogy because, I talk to so many women every day that it's easy. We're all creative, right? I think that's the common thread is we're creative. And I think we're all passionate. And so part of that is really focusing, not having that fear of missing out, which I love, the FOMO. So I feel like you were doing a lot. I guess you were working on your breaks. You were really focusing. What else do you feel like were kind of some big like ahas as you were going through this? Where do you think that, listeners could have just a tip or two where it's like, I guess not to get discouraged, because I think that running two things, it can be like you feel like the second gig isn't going quick enough, So I guess what's the biggest tip in terms of like staying on the path and not getting thrown off?
Yeah. I think it's really, really important to keep track of what you're doing, to be honest, because a lot of times, like, as creatives, like you said, we're very passionate. We're usually multi-passionate and multi-talented, right? So a lot of times if we start something on the side, then we see like another opportunity as part of that, and all of a sudden it's a separate thing, right? So I would really take a look at like, are you actually trying to start 3 businesses on the side, but you're calling it just one thing, right? So where can you really, really focus down? And then I would recommend, even if it takes you, a little bit of extra time every day, to do something like a journal or an online to-do list or something where you are checking off the stuff that you accomplished, so that when your emotions are telling you it's not happening fast enough, or you're frustrated or whatever, or you're tired, you can look back and go, whoa, look at all this stuff I did today or this week or this month. Like, I am moving forward. So that habit of reflection is what can really encourage you and drive you. And when you have the wins, to celebrate them and write them down, so that when you're not feeling like things are going well, you can remember that you are and get back to that place where you realize that they are. And you are then motivated to move forward because you remember and feel good about what you're doing, as opposed to like allowing, feeling overwhelmed or feeling discouraged to be the thing that gets momentum, which then leads often to like a shame spiral, where you wind up sitting on the couch and like staring at the TV or staring at the wall and going like, oh, I'm not doing anything. It's not happening fast enough. It's never going to happen. Right. Which is not helpful.
Yeah. Oh my God. You are literally just like vocalizing everything that I've had to put into place in my own business, because I am one of those people who gets a lot of things done. And for a long time, I would get to the end of the day and be like, oh, I didn't get it all done, or I didn't get enough done. And I've completely put that practice into place. I think thanks to you actually reminding me to do that, and us having check-ins, I think having kind of also someone to check in with once or twice a week, even if it's not like your friend or your mom, having someone else that, maybe they're in their own business and it's a different business, but you can just check in and say, how's your day going? What's up with you? And then you're able to kind of, that's for me been a really great way of self-reflection, is checking in with a few like business friends, so I can say, oh my God, I did this, and also celebrate when really great things happen. I feel like that's been huge, for me, in terms of just knowing that I am moving forward and having that. I love the word reflection. That's like perfect.
Yes, because you are always moving 1,000 miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
Like, which is incredible. You do get so much done. Sometimes, when everything's rushing by us, it's just like, okay, now on to the next thing. Okay, yep, yep. And most of us who are high achievers, like, that's just the way that we live. Most entrepreneurs, that's just the way that we live. And so I think there's a lot of there's a big lesson for us in learning to kind of look around at what's going on, what's going right, and use that to fuel our forward momentum. If it maybe framing it that way helps us to be like, oh yeah, this is worthwhile, right? Instead of like, I don't have time. But if it actually helps us to move forward, then maybe we'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely. The I don't have time syndrome. Like we always have enough time. That's something I think when you and I first met, and we met in a group coaching program, and that was one of like the first lessons, wasn't it? To like stop saying you're busy all the time, stop saying you don't have enough time, like start being really aware of what you're saying and start taking it out of your vocabulary. And I think I never say I'm busy anymore, even though like the realization of it is like I get a lot done. You do too. I mean, you have a baby. You started, since you started your first business, you started a nonprofit. I mean, like I feel like you are just like this wealth of knowledge that I'm always coming to and being like, okay, what am I doing about this? And I think on top of it, I love hindsight. So I'd love to know, in your years and years of being on your own businesses, let me say that, businesses, what do you feel like you would have done differently? Like looking back, where would you have changed? What would you have shifted? I want to know, because I think that's so helpful for other people.
Yes, I do too. And I'm all about helping people to, get out of their 9 to 5 or grow their businesses faster than I did, right? Like use the lessons that I've learned. Maybe learned them the hard way. And I would tell you that the biggest thing that I would have changed, hands down, is that I would have found a way to invest time and money and getting help sooner. So, I am really independent. I do what I want. I do it my way, right? As most of us entrepreneurs do. And so I think when I was younger, I felt like I had to prove something by figuring it out alone. But, and I had, a free mentor who I met with once a month, and he was really great as a check-in, like you mentioned, but he did not hold my feet to the fire the way that I needed. He did not call me out on my stuff the way that I really needed to deal with the procrastination and the perfectionism and the fear and the things that were holding me back. And so when I finally did decide to invest in like learning from somebody who had what I wanted, then I realized, oh, this is a thing. Like, what was I thinking that I could read all these books and somehow like change my life? Because for me, it was like I was reading them always and, hoping that things would change, but I wasn't implementing. And I was always reading them through like the same prescription, if you will, right? So the same filter. It's taking all these things in and being like, oh, that's a great idea, and then not doing anything with it. So I would wind up more frustrated than when I read this book, but I was proud that I was reading the books because I thought that was supposed to help me. So when I had like actual individualized attention from somebody to go, hey, Christine, maybe this is the deal, or what if you did this, because I've already done it and it worked, and here's how you can implement that in your own business, I know I would have been able to quit my 9 to 5 so much sooner, be so much farther along now. And I just can't say enough about the importance of getting that support as soon as you can. Find a way to make it happen. If you're running, these retail businesses, like Emily is such a great resource for a product-based business. She's the person that I refer all of my people who are interested in learning more about product-based stuff to. And so I know she's an absolute wealth of knowledge with all these types of things.
I mean, well, first of all, thank you. I've devoted my life kind of unconsciously. Somehow I ended up here. But like you, it was reading the books. It was, having that. I did the read the books, take the classes, do the free small business classes. I think it's like this. entrepreneur like detour, like you've got to kind of go through that step of the pride. It is the pride, right? Like I think that's such a great call out that I can do it on my own. Like that was totally my thing as a kid where I was like, I can figure it out. I will totally be the leader of this group and I will navigate the way. And then when you're floating on your own and you want to do something kind of as a solo entrepreneur, it becomes a different situation. And I think I didn't know about coaching either, number one. So I'm totally on your page too there. And I think, a group coaching program for me was really the first anything I had in terms of coaching, in terms of consulting. And that one group coaching program like completely changed my life. And I think even if you can't do a one-on-one coach, a group coaching program, or some sort of way to work with either a coach or a consultant or someone who's, like you said, has been where you've been, knows what you're going through, and can actually just say to you, hey, don't spend your time doing that. It doesn't work. I tried it, or I've seen, my other clients try it and that doesn't work. So that I just love having you here. These tips are amazing. They're so good, and you're so good at articulating them. I mean, I think for me too, as you get into more deeply into your business, do you feel like there's something else that, is there anything else you would need, I guess, to get to the next level? Because I do work with new retailers. I know there's a lot of new retailers listening. I know there's also a lot of seasoned retailers listening. I know there's a lot of women on here who maybe have had a store for 4 or 5, 10, 15 years. What would you say for those women would be something that could really help them, I guess, kind of shift and either get to the next level in their business or maybe even have some free time in their life? Because I know once you get to a certain point, you're like, cool, so I've got this running. I just want to hang out with my family, or I want to travel. What do you have there for them? What's a bit of knowledge?
Yes. So this is such a great question because there's a professor who has coined this term, the Bermuda Triangle of Entrepreneurship. His name is Rick Hornbeck, and this is the place where most businesses go to disappear, right? 9 of 10 small businesses we know don't make it. And so the reason is that most of them get stuck in the Bermuda of Triangle of Entrepreneurship. How do you stay out or get out, if you find yourself there, of the triangle? The biggest thing that burns entrepreneurs out and that then winds up leading to their businesses failing, and then they blame the business instead of like realizing it was something that they could have done differently, is that they don't learn to delegate. And when we're entrepreneurs, it is so normal. Like, this is the thing. Most entrepreneurs are not naturally good at delegating because we care so much about our business. We're very passionate about it. We want things to be done right. We know we can do them right. And like, it's really hard for us to sort of let go, take our tight grip off of our business enough to allow somebody else like to help us. But if the phrase is delegate or die,
oh God,
and that's the phrase for a reason.
Yeah. Wow. That's dramatic.
It is. But at a certain point, you will hit an income plateau in your business, and unless you learn to delegate, you will not go above that. It's like your own self-imposed glass ceiling, because you don't get more hours in the day. You keep on doing things the way that you've done them with the same types of habits, and the only way to expand is to delegate some of that stuff at a certain point in your business so that you can do what you do best, and you can also get that free time, like you said, that allows your business to be in service to your life rather than the other way around. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs get that backward. And then, when they're building the business, it's all about the business. And then they get to a point where they want it to be about their life. They have no idea how to do that because they've never done it. And so I would say that the delegation thing is absolutely key. And if you don't know how to do it and you're like, I'm a total control freak, like I can't imagine, guess what? That's okay. You can learn it and find somebody who has learned to delegate and learn from them, right? Get them to hold you accountable to it. Get them to say, okay, here's how we start with baby steps, right? And so that you so that you set yourself up for success there.
I totally agree. I mean, no one is ever going to replicate you. Like, let's put that on the table. No one can ever be you. So we'll kind of let that go. And then I think one of the best tips I was given, I was at a conference and I was talking to a guy about this, and he said, honestly, you're never going to find someone who's going to be exactly like you. But if they're at least 80% of you, 80% of the key aspects of what you represent in your business, then you're good. That other 20%, they're not going to be there. And that's okay. We're human. So that's not possible. But I love that 80-20 rule where he was like, as long as you can find someone who, name the top 3 aspects of why your customers love you, and find someone who meets those 3 aspects at about 80%. And I have to tell you, when I had my brick and mortar store, I had a woman who was an intern for me, and she even looked like me. I mean, she found me and I was like, thank you, universe. But like everyone would say, oh, are you guys sisters? Because we were so similar. She did such an amazing job in the store. I left for a week and a half and went on a vacation, and she watched the store and she did an amazing job, and she was sending me updates, but also not giving me my space too. She knew how important it was for me to get away. She had actually grown up in a retail store. So, I think I'll throw in a tip here too in terms of how to find that help, because I get that a lot too, is okay, so how do I find good help? Like there's always that good help is hard to find, that, one of those old phrases we have to get rid of. Right? There's so many, right, Christine?
Oh, yes.
One of the tips I loved is just outlining who your ideal candidate is. Like writing that down, sitting down and saying, who do I want to attract to me right now? Who do I want to attract to the store? Who do I want to attract as a coach? Who do I want to attract as a social media manager? Write that down. Write down all the things. Kind of like how they tell you to manifest a boyfriend when you're single. Do the same thing, right? It's a matchmaking service. So write all those things down, and that's been one of the things I've done is I've written down, who do I want to attract, and suddenly they appear in my life, and as if like magic, they're there. So I love that tip, delegate or die. And
I love that, the power of intention.
Yeah, the power of intention.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Focus all of that scattered energy and actually just sit down for 5 minutes and go, what do I need right now? Like, what is this frantic brain telling me? Okay, I need somebody to do this, right? I need somebody to teach me this, or I need somebody to, delegate this to, and actually set, we talk about like set an intention or whatever, but really just write it down, right? Because there's something really powerful about writing it down. You may, I'm doing something right now with my community, and I was searching back through some old Facebook group posts, and I found something from 11 months ago where I started talking about this. Wow. And I finally am doing it right now. And I went, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. But I started talking about it almost a year ago, and it's so fun to see.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So wait, tell us, what is your community? Tell us a little bit more about resources that you have, and then I'm going to jump into my famous last 2 questions. But tell us a little bit more about where we can find you, where your community lies, because I'm in your community and I'm a little obsessed. So share, please.
Thank you for being obsessed. I love having you there. So the best way to connect with me is in my private Facebook group, which is called Life with Passion Society. Life with Passion is on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter. But the best way to connect with me is Life with Passion Society, which is a group of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of high achievers who are on this path. It's super encouraging. It's super motivating. People just really show up for each other there, and it's super non-competitive and non-catty, which is like a major breakthrough for me, because I used to think that women were those things, and now I've discovered there are a lot who aren't. So I love that, and a lot of them are in my community. So that's Life with Passion Society. And then you can also grab a copy of my PDF on how I got out of my 9 to 5 and created my own success story at lifewithpassion.com/boutique.
Perfect. And we'll put that in the show notes and make sure everyone gets that. I love the name of your business, Life with Passion. I remember when I first saw it, I had a little jealousy moment because I was like, oh, that's such a good name. I wish I picked that.
Thank you. That's so nice. And it actually goes back. Gosh.
Oh no.
Making films or whatever, or time, right? And so I was getting ready to finish school. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I had chosen this horse farm to do this documentary on. And so when it came time to name it, the theme of this horse farm and the women who ran it was that they were doing this because they loved it and they were passionate about it. And they had dedicated their lives to this, bloodline of horse. And so the name Life with Passion was what I chose for that documentary. And then when I, 10 years later, when I decided to start this business after having started 3 others and, a nonprofit and all of that, it came back around to this is the embodiment of who I am and who I am meant to serve and, and speak to in the world. And so it was like this full circle moment of I needed to see other people living with passion when I was starting my career. And now I get to provide that to other women and pay that forward. And so that's where the name came from.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you are so closely connected with horses. And I love that about you because horses are so beautiful. And I know we definitely have boutique owners listening who are in horse country, I would call it, the areas of the US that, are known for horses. And so if you guys, if you're interested in horses as well, Christine's a really great resource. We won't go deeply into talking about that, but I always see her as kind of the go-to horse expert. So you can always find her talking about her beautiful horses. So, okay, so let's bring it back around. So, okay, my last 2 questions for you. So first is, it's really my boutique signature question. So what is your most favorite item that you've ever purchased in a boutique?
I love this question. And I love boutiques. I love boutiques because I get really overwhelmed in a big store. And so I love just walking in the spaciousness of a boutique and being able to really, get my eyes on things that attract me rather than a million different options and just not even being able to see, the trees for the forest, if you will. So I have in my mind this picture of this really cute, long-sleeved, pink top with a bow in the collar, and it's a patterned bow. And I got it when I was in grad school, and I didn't have much money, and it was expensive, but I just knew I had to have it, and so I treated myself to it, and I still have it today. It was dry clean only, which I didn't really buy in grad school or even really now because I just never get to the dry cleaners, blah, blah, blah. But I had to have this top. And so I bought it. I bought it. I went to grad school at Baylor, which is in Waco, and it was right across the street from the original Magnolia Market. Joanna was a friend of mine when I was in grad school, Joanna Gaines, and the original Magnolia Market, I shopped there to get stuff for my little grad school apartment when it was just Joanna running this place as a passion project. And right across the street was her friend running this boutique that she had helped her start, and it was a clothes boutique, and that's where I got that shirt, and I just remembered that.
Oh my God, that's such a fun story. I love that. And look at where Magnolia is now. I mean, that just shows you the power of how starting out as a one-woman show in a small town like Waco, Texas, and now where she's come with the TV show, magazine, the huge market. I mean, she's a great, I would think she, for a boutique owner, would be a really great kind of mentor, or just, someone you look up to. I think she's a great example of that.
So much so. Waco is not a town that's super conducive to that type of thing at all. And the fact that they have basically like remade the image of Waco just, by being themselves and doing what they love, like what an incredible inspiration. And they've done it a little bit at a time, right? Like she had the original Magnolia Market, and then she started having babies, and so she took a break from it, and then she came back to it, and now it is what it is. And so wherever you are on that journey, like she's a great example to remember.
Yeah, I love that too, that you said Waco was this not conducive to having a boutique, or even, the type of Magnolia Market she had, because I hear so many women say, well, I can't charge a lot because I'm in a small town, or I don't have a lot of reach because I'm in a small town. But I think there is something there to pull out with just sticking with it and adapting to your customers, adapting to what you need. And yeah, I'm glad you brought her up. She's definitely a boutique hero for sure.
For sure. Yep.
I love it. So, okay, so let's finish up. I know you have, your baby to get back to and your life, right? So I just want to know, like, after all these, you've given us so much to chew on and really like so much inspiration, but if you had to sum it up and really, what is the one thing, if listeners are just, now they're perking up, and what is the one thing that you really want them to take away from our conversation today?
Yes. Okay. So if there's one thing that I could tell you to remember, this one thing, even if you forget everything else, it would be to take 5 minutes of action on your dream or on your business today. You might be feeling really inspired after this conversation. You might feel like you have some actionable tips. The best thing that you can do for your business, for your dreams, and for the people out there who need what you are selling is to take 5 minutes of action. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be the exact right thing. You don't have to overwhelm yourself, like making sure. But what you will do is you will get more clarity from taking 5 minutes of action, and you will also start to build this confidence in yourself that this is doable, that you are making progress, even if you're still in a 9-to-5, or even if you are feeling really overwhelmed right now. You'll tell your brain you are making progress, you can do this, and you can also give yourself permission to say, hey, I worked on the business today, I was productive, and you can show up again tomorrow. I
love it. It's that, it's just taking action, just going for it, just doing it.
Yep, exactly.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Christine, on the Boost Your Boutique podcast. You're always a pleasure, and I know that there are some inspired women out there, for sure.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Emily. This was a blast.
Did you love this episode as much as I did? Head over to iTunes and rate and review the Boost Your Boutique podcast so more amazing and creative boutique owners like you can find out about it. And don't forget, head over to boostyourboutique.com to learn more.